Bomani Jones, the host of The Right Time with Bomani Jones, the hit digital series presented by Wave Sports and Entertainment, available wherever you get your podcasts. So,
did my people write it down as the hip digital series, or did you cool cats?
No, that's what I believe it is. But
hit! I thought you said hip. I was
hit
is one thing. If you had said hip, I was like, "Whoa, there, pops, slow down."
No, boy.
Hip
it's a hit series. It's what I'm being told.
I'll take it.
I'm sure it is.
I'll take it.
So, what is on your mind? Like, what's top of your mind today?
Well, I saw you guys talking about Jaden Daniels coming in. I think that's interesting because the whole college offense thing. I didn't know if Cam Taylor-Britt, I got all the names right?
You did.
Okay. These hyphens, I admit they
get you.
They're a thing. I didn't know if he meant it was an insult to say it was a college offense as much as it's a statement of fact, right? Cliff Kingsbury is a college coach. If he was running a college offense, okay, make it work. But it's good to see a rookie quarterback play well since they're going to insist these rookie quarterbacks play even though none of them seem to play well anymore.
Well, the whole college offense is absolutely a broadside. There's no question about it. It was to basically say we're pro football players, we're grown-ass men, we're about to go take this rookie down. There's not much that he does that a pro can't stop, and then he shows up and he performs like a rookie's never performed, certainly in terms of accuracy. He throws a deep ball to Terry McLaurin to set him up on the 4-yard line. Then he personally takes it in. That looked like a college play to me, but that worked in the pros, as well as he also had a tackle eligible, that throw to McLaurin to say night-night to all of Cincinnati. That looked like a grown-ass man to me,
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I also have a question about Cincinnati. Are they going, is like the thing turned back to a pumpkin and they just gone back to being the Cincinnati Bengals again?
You're saying like that's Marvin Lewis, that's Andy Dalton?
Oh no! I mean much worse than that. Like I always thought that Marvin Lewis got a bad rap. Like they're still the Bengals, right? They still have the cheapest owner in the history of the world, and that seems to be playing itself out now.
Yes.
What's going on with Higgins and what's going on with Chase and with Joe Burrow? Okay, in your regular life,
yes,
somebody shows up and everything had been riding all hunky-dory, and now they got a ridiculous dye job, and they're not performing as well at the job as they used to. Wouldn't you pull them to the side and ask them if they were okay? Like, he showed up looking like Cody Rhodes, and none of us stopped and were like, hey, man, are you sure Joe's cool? Like, is everything all right in his life? I would check.
He said Cody Rhodes.
But, I mean, listen, speaking on behalf of the follically challenged, if I could do it, I'd try it. You know what I mean?
I think I am right there with you.
I
don't have the measure of privilege that allows me to keep wearing the little bit of hair that I have. And by the way, it's not your fault to be your own people. It's my people that forced me to take all my hair off and allow you to, come in here with the little bit you got. You get to hold on. But at the same time, when he showed up,
you're not afforded the same luxury?
No, because we clown each other too viciously. Like Michael Jordan actually messed the game up. Before Michael Jordan, you got to age like a regular person, and your hair could run back a little bit. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like, we just understood it, right? Jordan was like, no, 25 years old, you have to quit. You have to give up right now. And for 30, am I lying? Everywhere it goes, like, you used to have dudes looking like Earth, Wind, and Fire and everything else for that whole stretch. Like poor LeBron. That's what Jordan did to LeBron that he could never fix. LeBron could have come out here and aged like a regular person, except Michael Jordan, seeing that it was coming, he's like, watch what I'm going to do to him. Watch, he ain't never going to have nowhere he can go. It happened. It did.
True.
So I just thought LeBron could just do that, though, know? I mean, he's great, right? I mean, he could just do anything.
Not everybody has the proper cranium shape to be able to come on home. If he could, he would have. Like, clearly this has been hypothesized, but he just doesn't have the right volumetrics.
See, this is one of the many reasons why I do respect Deion Sanders as much as I do. He flat out comes out and says, I am going to put hair on my head.
He did it.
And I look great, and I'm going to refer to myself as the comeback player of the year. and that's it. It's
such a flex that he was able to do that because Urlacher went and he had gotten the surgery to do that, and the company that did that for Urlacher hit me up once about doing some reads, and they offered me the free service, but I'm in too deep. It was too late. Like, there was no way that I was going to be able to do that and, like, approach the world with some dignity. Everybody would know that I was a cheater, and I am not a cheater. But I tell you now, if I could have done it and nobody would have known that I was a cheater, I'd have been hell on wheels, boy. If I had that hair back, and don't let me start being able to sing, y'all'd all be in trouble. Every single one of you. I would not have the opportunity to meet any of your wives or girlfriends friends. It would never be safe.
I love that we're on this, Jag, because there are some people in our industry, former players, when they wear helmets and they take them on and off for as much as they do in their career, the hair gets caught in the helmet and they lose their hair. Then they show up on TV and they have got parts. They have got hairlines.
Yes.
They have got it all right now. And
baseball players.
And I could see them. Football for sure.
John Smoltz is one of my childhood heroes, and I had no idea how much we would ultimately have in common because he had a cap on the whole time. I didn't know we was heading in the same direction.
Bomani Jones here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right. What do you make of the kid in UNLV just 3 games in?
I just saw that on the way in here.
Yeah, right.
They don't have any rules.
There's no rules.
And that is, I think a lot of people, and I have long been on the side of players receiving compensation. Not like this, by the way. I think this is all a farce. I think they should get the money out of the big pot as opposed to the schools passing the hat to get regular people to pay their players.
You see Tennessee is having a talent fee adding to their tickets?
Yeah, they put the gratuity on the check. You know what I mean? Like you go to a restaurant and they go ahead and put the 15% on, right? They put the gratuity on the check. What got me about this UNLV thing is apparently UNLV has made all the payments that they were supposed to, and the young man said that the price of the brick gone up, right? He said yesterday's price is not today's price, which is an audacious thing for someone to say of whom I have never heard. Who is this Sluka guy?
Well,
and he walks in and he's like, yo, like I have outperformed my deal. Has he? Maybe he has. What's his deal?
Well, they're killing it compared to other years. I think they're 3-0 for the first time since Kenny Mayne was their quarterback.
He wants a raise.
Kenny Mayne, former UNLV quarterback. Oh yeah. So I don't know, but his dad says they did not do what you're saying they did. Okay, he said they did not ask for any enhancements. They just want what's been promised to him. But either way, it would be helpful to be able to pull out a piece of paper and say, you told me this, I would be getting this, and this piece of paper says I get this portion of it on this date, this portion of it on this date, and there's no such thing. Like, of all the businesses in sports to be run with we'll just do a verbal agreement. Yeah. You'd have to think college football would be the worst.
This is such a clown show in the way it works. And it appears that the system moved more efficiently and with more honor when people were literally dropping off bags. Right? Like, it really sounds like, look, meet me in the parking lot, get that paper bag, it bet be 10 G's in it. You get there, and it's the 10 G's. Like, there was something more charming also about it. Like, the idea, like, when you get your car from valet, do you ever sometimes just like fold the tip up in your hand, like you're in Las Vegas, so you can feel like, it's kind of like after they, after the many places in the country legalized and changed their cannabis laws, it's a lot more fun talking on the phone in code and acting like, So, have you been to the garden? All right. Well, I'm going to come by for the harvest. Yeah, like it was more fun doing that than showing up and paying with a debit card. And I feel like this is the same thing with this era of paying college athletes, right? And they're not paying, like I say, they're not paying on the money, everything else. This is what they need to watch out for. I don't know the background of this Sluka guy. I'm making assumptions about what he looks like and where he's from. Like, I don't know any of those things. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Some people really don't take kindly to not getting paid what they're owed, and their methods of resolution are not simply to redshirt, shall we say.
Yes.
They're coming and they want their money. Somebody's going to show up and act a fool. Because other thing, too, and we all know this about young people in jobs, they don't really understand how things work, and they got to give me a raise. They ain't got to do nothing. All of us, they got the money. They got to give. No, they don't have to do any of those things. And somebody's going to show up there with some ornamenture, shall we say, looking for some money.
Heaven forbid. But I understand that you're saying that if there's something as simple as a contract that people can't figure out how to be professional about it, that somebody might ad-lib in a way that nobody's expecting.
I will give you a tale. I will give you a tale.
All right,
and this is a tale that has been passed down, but this is after Billy Corbin's 30 for 30 broke on ESPN about the players losing all their money. And I have a friend who was telling a friend of hers who was a football player that she thought that he should watch it. So, as a cautionary tale. And he watched it, and she asked him, well, what did you take from this? And he said, I learned a lot from that, about losing your money. And he said what he learned from that, or what his solution was, is that he showed up to his agent's office with a piece of heavy metal and explained to him what would happen if ever he thought to steal money from him. That was the message that he learned, is that the way these dudes are losing their money is people are stealing from them. Mm-hmm. You're not about to steal from me. And you know what? I bet that dude didn't steal from him.
Right.
Wow.
So you're saying putting out an Instagram meme of saying thank you to the UNLV fan base, that something might be a little bit more
It could have gone
heavy.
Worse. It could have. I'd tell you this. It could have gone worse. Can you imagine this happening in the Tarkanian era? I feel like Tarkanian would make sure his boys got their money, right? I think that it would be a whole slew of people who believe in a different sort of honor because it comes with a different set of consequences.
Unless he did get his money and his father's saying otherwise, and that's the whole point. It's a level of he said that shouldn't have to take place in 21st century sports when it's already professionalized.
But also,
like, what are we doing?
But
here?
also keep in mind, even when you had the paperwork we had with Jaden Rashada at Florida a year and change ago, where they had the deal and then all of a sudden they couldn't come up with the money. And then it was like, I don't know what to tell you. So he thinks he has this deal for like 8 figures over the span of 4 years. Then he has to transfer to Arizona State. And the deal was nothing similar to it. And because the NCAA went out like some suckers, they've decided they want everybody else, wants somebody else to be this one to legislate this. And I'm just telling you, when it comes down to money, the people involved are going to one way or another legislate it for themselves. And what you're also going to wind up having is guys, after this redshirt window is open, just like, yo, it's simple. I'm not playing this week if you don't give me my money. Like, that was, anecdotally stuff that was happening at SMU. At halftime, people being like, yo, so am I getting my money? Or if I'm not getting my money, I'm going to play. And in some of those cases, I'm sure the school is like, we gave you your money. And they're like, okay, I'm going to say this one more time. If I don't get some more money, I'm not going to play. What do? There are no rules. And they all did it to themselves. They have had decades to fix this.
Or I guess there's no enforcement as well on top of it.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody that you can go and mitigate this or litigate it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, this one was kind of an eye opener in that that respect, because I can't wait to find out the exact details if we ever do.
And it happened off Broadway. Like, Georgia plays Alabama this week.
That's right.
Can you imagine if Carson Beck walked up to Kirby and was like, Coach, let's talk. What goes on then? Or Kalen DeBoer, he just got there. And somebody decides that they're going to exercise. Like, you couldn't pull this on Saban. You can pull this on the new guy, right? I mean, obviously, I don't think this is going to happen.
I understand what you're saying.
But
like, what happens if this happens right before 1 versus 2, whole country watching? Is this a canary in a coal mine in UNLV off Broadway is what you're saying?
Yes. Like, this is going to happen in our other places, and all of this, man, between this and the gambling and everything else, we are hitting a place of chaos in all of these sports that I'm very curious in 10 years, like what exactly we're going to be watching.
And then I guess, in the meantime, then we'll just sit down and watch the games 1 versus 2 and not think about it.
We will.
I mean,
we will.
I mean, that's the way it goes. It's kind of crazy, and sometimes in our business of having takes and opinions, and then they last about a week, and then they last about 3-4 days, or they instantly go sour. I mean, Andy Dalton, speaking of Vegas, what he did in Vegas this past week, the number of people that were like, the Panthers are the worst organization in the history of sports. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have Bryce Young's best interest in mind. And then they go out and do what they did to the Vegas Raiders like that.
What a staggering indictment of that young man.
You think so?
Well, I don't know. I'm not saying it's his fault. But you know what it's like that first couple of times you got a TV show and you take some time off and then you watch and you're like, wow, those guys seem to be doing pretty good without me. Wow, it makes you feel a little iffy sometimes. We all like to feel like we're irreplaceable. And a lot of us looked at Bryce Young and said, it's not entirely his fault, which I don't believe, but part of it was the rest of these guys just aren't that good. And then the ghost of Andy Dalton came out there and looked like prime Sonny Jurgensen. Red hair.
I understand that.
Yeah, okay, just checking.
Your other options were what? Jason Garrett? Who are their other options here? I mean,
I got to be honest with you. I had to really come up with a number 2. I didn't. Sonny Jurgensen was the only guy that I had.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on. I got it.
No, but it was. I mean, I don't think they've done right by him, but I also was shocked with him coming into the draft as optimistic as people were. Like, the idea that somebody traded all those picks for a 5'10", 207-pound quarterback to draft number 1 was flabbergasting to me at the time.
Well, and in this 1 week take world where we're just now in a box in between weeks 3 and 4 and what's happened the 2 previous weeks, or what we think that there could potentially happen in the next 12 weeks has to be the most pessimistic view possible.
Correct.
We're taking bets on who's the first one to say Caleb Williams is Bryce Young. to Jayden Daniels, C.J. Stroud? Like, who's going to go out and basically say that right now?
That is a good question, because it is going to happen. And, I mean, the numbers have not been great, right? Like, if you were to do that, I would understand the argument. The thing to look at now is Justin Fields, because I was out. And my thing with Fields is he holds on to the ball too long. And that's my concern with Williams also. He holds on to the ball too long, but he's playing on a team right now that has terrible offensive line play.
Yes.
But Justin Fields looks like, if nothing else right now, a capable NFL quarterback, maybe even a good one. And normally you feel like you know by year 3 if that's going to be the case. Sam Darnold, I'm not prepared to fall for this yet, but he's doing. I would not think he could have done as well as he had. He's still making Sam Darnold-y mistakes, but I wouldn't have expected this.
Well, it seems what we're living in right now in the quarterback world in the NFL is some teams putting their eggs in the rookie basket because the draft and their draft positioning mandates it. And then there are others who did that and are then left in the world of having to figure out, do we pay that rookie generationally enriching money because that's what the market bears, and keep betting on the come because we haven't really seen anything in the first contract yet? And that's the Trevor Lawrence and Tua and, for the moment, Jordan Love.
Right.
Then there's also the veterans who used to be those rookie quarterbacks who have now been forced to go find business elsewhere, who are now veterans and more grown men to actually see the field better and are performing very well. There, Geno, Baker, Jared Goff being one of them.
Right.
And then there's like Mahomes and Allen and Lamar, and then the true sort of elite. Like, I think that's the quarterback world that we're living in the NFL, where you could name some other guys who are kind of in the fault lines of each one of those tiers.
Well, I'll throw something else out there for you.
Sure.
Between Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, that whole time period, go look at the quarterbacks that got drafted. Go see how that turned out, right? You have Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, and then it starts getting real shaky when you look at who the guys. Dak Prescott went in 2016, but that one is an incredible outlier.
There's Jameis and Mariota.
Right. And how did all of those work out, right? There was really a 10-year kind of dead period. And if you want to stretch it out a little more, go back to after Aaron Rodgers. You get like Matt Ryan, you get Joe Flacco. But this league, Jay Cutler were the guys, Vince Young, Matt Leinart. Yeah. Those are the quarterbacks that were coming in that stretch. We had a real dead period where the great quarterbacks were all damn near 40 years old. Or under 26. And now the 40 guys are gone, right? Stafford has now finally gotten as good as people tried to tell me he was for all of this time. But there's just that dead period of quarterbacks, and now we're back again with a stretch of young quarterbacks that aren't ready, right? Look, Sam Darnold, this is year 7. Yeah, this is year 7 for him. And it's just now coming around. But the rest of that draft, Baker Mayfield, it's just now coming around in year 7.
Geno Smith, I think, went in that he was one of those guys in the decade that you're referring to getting drafted in the second round. And now, again, he's one of those guys where the veteran gets a shot somewhere else. Yep. And maybe he's 3-0. Yep. And Fields is 3-0. I mean, he's still younger than that. It's just kind of crazy what world we're living in right now.
Oh, you had Russell Wilson in that stretch. Yeah, but even then, those guys who were good in that stretch, they all went bad young. Andrew Luck got out of there, I want to say before he turned 30. Cam kind of had a career arc of a running back. Russell Wilson kind of had the career arc of a running back.
RG3.
Right. And so we're all out here just like, okay, everybody's got to figure out what to do with the quarterback. And I would just throw it out there. You can always run the ball. You have the option. Look, what Green Bay did with Malik Willis this weekend is your reminder. Sometimes you can just get out here and run the ball.
Yeah, and Malik Willis being 2-0 right now. Go ahead and tell him what you said in my ear.
Kirk Cousins was in that group too. Same draft class as RG3.
He is, and it took.
It took a while.
I'm a bit of a famous Kirk Cousins skeptic. I don't know if you know this. It turned into a very big thing when I was a Kirk Cousins skeptic. But he was better than I ever thought he was. But has any quarterback ever been a starter for an NFL team for 10 years? Because this is kind of year 10, and none of those teams wanted him to be their starter. Not even the Falcons, who gave him $40 million a year. They took a month and a half, and they said, hey, the future's right there. That dude with 8 ACL surgeries, we will bring him in. And now Kirk Cousins running around on one leg wearing a loser suit because he plays for the Falcons. That's a loser suit.
Loser suit.
It's a loser suit.
Let's take a break. You can finish the hour with us?
Of course.
Apparel news. I don't know if you've seen this piece of haberdashery. The Oakland A's
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you seen this hat? The multiple A's logos makes it look like it's an actual ass hat. Bomani.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about that. It's ass hat.
It's also sold out.
Well, it's because I think it's a protest purchase, potentially, of their team leaving.
It's
and
kind of genius.
It's really fun.
I don't know if did nobody QC this in the meeting to basically say
No, definitely not.
it's an ass hat.
I just
Bomani speechless.
Yeah.
You didn't see that one coming, huh?
No, I somehow I completely missed that. It's literally.
Yeah.
Can I ask this question about their move?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to Las Vegas and watch a baseball game?
Well, you don't like sitting 120-degree weather in
it's
July?
gonna be
Is that what you're saying?
indoors.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to be, there's so many things for me to do indoors in Las Vegas that are so much better than watching the Oakland A's. Like, I understood they made the hockey team work, and I could kind of see, how that goes. Like, them and a basketball team. I generally think Las Vegas is a bad place for pro sports, and the Raiders are experiencing it. You're scheduled to 17 road games. There's just a much greater incentive for the road team to have fans to show up in your building, and it takes it over. But baseball, like the whole reason you go to Vegas for action, but you go for a baseball game for kind of the opposite.
By the way, and any Raider fan will tell you though, and anybody here in Los Angeles, they can play home games here. Because they do.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers went silent snap count week 1.
I feel like the Chargers should be the ones to go ahead and go to Vegas because they're not going to have no fans nowhere. They wouldn't have no fans in San Diego, right? You might as well be the ones going over there. They'd enjoy it more.
I've got Bomani Jones here. Radio audience has returned. I mean, rinse, repeat with Kawhi Leonard and his knee. The word that came out yesterday is that he had a procedure. And Shams saying that the Clippers expect him. They're optimistic about his progress, and he will be limited to strengthening his knee to start training camp. So here we go again.
Yeah, I think there's been so little transparency with his physical condition, really going back to San Antonio. We had all the arguments between the team and him about how bad his knee was. Clearly, he was the one telling the truth, right? Clearly, his knee was in a bad shape where he needed to do all these things to keep it straight. I remember the 2019 finals. I went to a couple games in that playoff run during that run. And I remember you would see him, and somehow the TV cameras never picked this up. He was laboring. Like, he put on one of the great postseason performances of all time. But you could see that his knee was a problem. And when people talked about load management, the league put out a statement saying that this is what was necessary to maintain his knee. He is, in a lot of ways, a Bill Walton type of figure, except he's gotten to the end of enough seasons that you don't, he's got 2 finals MVPs. You don't have like full 2-3 seasons where he doesn't play. But this is actually, I think, far more tragic than we give it credit for because he doesn't really talk. And so that's led us to have all these questions about what the problems are. But this is one of the greatest players of all time. And it's a shame that through this, he's been a 30, 40, 50 game a year player for basically the better part of the last 8 years.
Yep.
Now we kind of understand why he didn't do the Olympics. I was wondering why he was doing the Olympics.
I think he was doing the Olympics because you're not going to hear people say he's one of the greatest players of all time. 2-time finals MVP with 2 different teams, maybe the greatest defensive player of his generation, who by the end of it turned himself into a 50-40-90 guy while being an incredible defensive player. I think the superlative elements of his game, we don't talk about that much. And that for him was the box to check on the resume. He should have been on that Olympic team. He is a player of that caliber.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
But that's why he did it, I think.
I was not wondering why he was playing it because I was questioning his ability. I know that. I just was wondering clearly, he wasn't fully healthy towards the end of the Clippers season.
I think he wanted to check that box, man. I think he badly wanted to be able to check that box. And so I root for him and hope it works out in the end. But, I think he's done. I just don't think there's how much longer can we keep playing the same game?
And then they opened a building with Paul George in Philadelphia. They do. I mean, so the Clippers got this beautiful new dome. Come on out here and watch Zubac play a 2-man game with Terrence Mann? Is that what it is?
I would say 2 things about that, right? Number one, they're now a legitimate NBA franchise again, which they had not been for so long. I think that helps with the building.
Right.
Number 2, let us all be honest about the purpose that the Clippers serve in this city. If you want to see the Lakers, you go watch the Lakers. If you want to go watch a basketball game, you go watch the Clippers. Right? It's an affordable price.
Yep.
And you can, like, when the first year of the Heat, when LeBron was there, when I used to come to town for Jim Rome show, I watched them play at the Staples Center, playing against the Clippers.
Yep.
Those tickets were affordable, right? You know, so like it's almost like a Vegas show, right? Like, hey, you want to go watch basketball? Sure, we'll go watch basketball. And then you show up and it's the Clippers. And so that's what they can still serve. I think they'll be a pretty decent team. But, I mean, I asked this question also. How many people are really spending money to go watch Kawhi Leonard play basketball?
No, and I know that's always been why you're saying that people don't talk about him like he's one of the greatest players of all time. It's, you know, he doesn't really have much of a social media presence. He doesn't get out there, and his game isn't, you know, as flashy as anybody else's. He does all the, if you will, dirty work. Check out Bomani Jones's show, The Right Time with Bomani Jones, wherever you get your podcasts. It's a hit digital show.
And it's hip.
It's
a stone cold groove.
And he called me Pops to start the interview, if I'm not mistaken. But it's okay. I've shook it off. And I think we had a great end of the rest of the hour. Hour 2 coming up. Still here on the Roku channel. Yeah, I caught that, but that's okay.
Okay. Can I talk about what a Flex Your Green Room is?
Sure. Go ahead.
It's
we have about a minute and a half left. But
it's your cue card from the David Letterman show.
That's
it's
correct.
signed posters by Scorsese. It's all of these people, and for reasons I don't quite understand, it's your degrees. Why aren't these things at your house? Why are they in my room?
Well, you should ask Bomani.
Okay.
This is like putting an Emmy in the bathroom. Like, why is this?
No, so the reason why is I don't know. They're interesting.
They are
pieces of pop culture. You could see the rest of the studio is that, and it's also, you know, a collection of things that my wife will frequently say. You know where that would look better?
It is your reminder of who the hell the host of this show is. In case you forgot.
You know where that would look better? Not here. And then I'm like, where can I put it? Okay. But the interesting thing is, she also helped design the green room. So
really,
yeah, she did.
Well played.
She does. Yeah. So it's a. Well, at any rate, I hope it's Scorsese's signature because Ray Liotta, when you go back there, you could see he signed it a second time. He said the original signature of his was fake. So it's possible all 4 of them are fake.
Wow.
So I'm glad you noticed, though.
I did.
Thanks for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
Come back whenever you come here. Please
Absolutely.
let me know.
Dude, I'm always down for this.
It's what'd you say? It's better for the property value? Did you tell me that
bring
once
the
upon a
property
time?
value up here. You have some people on here that bring the property value down. You know what I mean?
Come on.
Bomani Jones here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.